Okay, so for complex fractions, let's first define a complex fraction. So right here, let's write complex fraction. Okay, this is a fraction with a numerator comma denominator comma or both that are also fractions. An example would be something like 20 over 1/2. So it's a fraction with a numerator. Numerator's here, the 20. Denominator would be the 1/2, or both that are also fractions. So you can see this one is just a whole number, the 20, but the denominator is 1/2. Okay, so how do we solve these? I'm going to show you. So we're going to write simplify. The first one is going to be 1/4 over 2. 1/4 over 2. So basically this is the same as 1/4 divided by 2. And whenever you divide a number with a fraction in it, you multiply by the reciprocal. Do you remember that word, reciprocal?
Yeah.
Good. So this is what you do. So you do 1/4 times 1/2. The reciprocal of 2 is 1 over 2. Because remember there's like an imaginary 1 under here. So you just flip it over. Some of you guys learned like keep, change, flip. Some of you learned that. So now that I have this, when I multiply fractions, I just multiply straight across. So 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 2 is 8. So the answer is 1 over 8. Let's try another one. Number 2. 1 over 1/2. Works the same way. We rewrite it as 1 divided by 1/2. The next step is to multiply by the reciprocal. Move it. So we can change this one if we want to make it look like a fraction to 1 over 1. Question?
If you have to like simplify the answer, could you simplify it?
Yes, you could if you needed to. So let's multiply this by 2 over 1. That's the reciprocal of 1/2. So see, I just changed the 1 to 1 over 1. And I changed the 1/2 to 2 over 1. So 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. So you don't have to write the answer as 2 over 1. In this case, you could just write it as 2. Some of you will see shortcuts and you won't need to write out this middle step because you will already see, oh, okay, I just need to flip it and multiply. And that's fine. But when you do your work and when you show your work, I expect you to show this step right here, the multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys one to try, and then we'll see how you do. See if you can get it. Number 3. Number 3 I want you to solve is 2 over 2/3. 2 over 2/3. Give you about a minute to try that one. If you can simplify, please do. Question?
What if you could simplify it down? Can you?
Yes, please simplify. Okay. So what you should get is 2 divided by 2/3. So this is 2 over 1, technically, right? Times 3 over 2. So far, so good? 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. 6 over 2 is what? 3. Good. Raise your hand if you got 3. Good. Raise your hand if you got to the 6 over 2 part, and then you were still working. Good. Okay, we're going to try another one. Question? You're good? See what you did wrong? Not yet? Let's try another one. Maybe you'll catch it there. Number 4. Six over 1/3. Give you about a minute to try that one. Okay, most of you got it by now. What did you get?
18.
18, good. You don't have to write the 18 over 1, so we divide by the 1/3, then we multiply by 3 over 1. Raise your hand if you got 18. Good, we're getting better. Okay, let's try one more. Let's do this one. 2/3 divided by 7. Okay, so the first step is to rewrite it. 2/3 divided by 7. And then we say, okay, this is the same as 2/3 times, really the 7 is 7 over 1, so the reciprocal is 1 over 7. And that equals 2 over 21. Raise your hand if you got that right. Good. So I have a question for you. Raise your hand if you think you know the answer. That in this step right here where I'm multiplying by the reciprocal, this one right here, do you think it matters which one of these fractions I flip over?
Yes.
You do. You think it matters? Okay, so let's have an experiment. Let's say I keep 7 as 7, but instead I want to flip the 3 and 2. So let's try that. So let's say I make the 2/3 3/2. I'm going to leave the 7 as 7. Now what do I get? 21 over 2. So people always ask me, does it matter which one you flip? Yes, it matters. Because in a division problem, you'll get different answers. If it was a multiplication problem, it wouldn't matter, right? But division problem has different things. So cross this out like that and say, no, don't do that. Yes?
Is it possible to have a fraction over a fraction?
Yes, that's what we're going to do next. I'm glad that you asked that question. Because in our definition of complex fractions, it says that you can have both of them as a fraction over a fraction, right? So let's do one. Number 6. 1/2 divided by, divided by 4/5. So first, we're going to rewrite it as 1/2 divided by 4/5. Write it this way. Then we will keep the first one. That's 1/2. We will multiply it by the reciprocal of the second one. So that's the keep, change, flip. So that's 5/4. And that equals 5/8. So it's the same exact process. Keep the first one, multiply by the reciprocal of the second one. Good question. Okay, so sometimes, yes?
If we ever have like a test quiz, could we allow to use our notes?
On the quiz you can use your notes, but not on the test.
Okay.
Good question. Okay, so sometimes you guys will get these as they're trying to get you to find the unit rate. So I'm going to write here, find the unit rate. These are special problems you'll get, and you're going to just love them because they're normally word problems. I know how you love word problems. So I'm going to give you an example. We'll call this number 7, all right? And so it says Josiah, write this down, okay, because you need this, can jog 1 1/3 miles in 1/4 hour. So in 1/4 of an hour, which is what, 15 minutes? 1/4 of an hour? 15 minutes, because there's 60 minutes in an hour, right? Josiah can jog 1 1/3 miles. Okay? And I want to find his average speed in miles per hour. So write find his average speed in, and I'm just going to put MPH because we know that's miles per hour, right? I can abbreviate that for you. So this is the problem. So first we look at this. Okay, I have complex fractions. I have a mixed fraction here, and I have to divide by this fraction here. So this is a little bit different. So we're going to write 1 1/3 and just put MI for miles so we know that the miles are on the top here. And then we're dividing that by 1/4 of an hour. Put H for hour. So to find his rate, you divide your total distance by your time. Okay? Question? Oh, don't give the answer yet. Were you going to give the answer? Okay, wait. You guys already have the answer? Okay? So here's the first step. We actually have to write this mixed fraction as an improper fraction. Do you remember how to do that?
Yeah.
So 3 times 1 plus 1. Okay, so let's rewrite that as 4/3 over 1/4. 4/3 over 1/4. And I'm kind of running out of space because I wrote big, so I'm going to write down here. So I have 4/3, and we're dividing by 1/4. So remember, we keep that one, and then we multiply it and change it to 4/1. So change the bottom number. Change the denominator. So far, so good? Okay, so what's 4 times 4? 16 over 3. 16 over 3 doesn't tell me a whole lot. So now I kind of want to go back to the mixed fraction. So I'm gonna divide this out. So how many times does 3 go into 16? 5. And what's left over? 1 over 3. Remember this? 5 1/3. You put the remainder over the denominator. So what is the 5 1/3? What is the 5 1/3 in units? What were we looking for? MPH. So now we just have to write MPH. Put a box around it. There's your answer. So in 1 hour, he could run 5 1/3 MPH. Raise your hand if you had that right, because some of you were, oh good, some of you were moving ahead and you saw that. Okay? So we're going to get different units sometimes. Like here we had miles and hours, but it's still okay. We still do the problem the same exact way. And we're going to get mixed fractions. It's okay. Just turn it into an improper fraction first. Question?
What if you can't divide it, then just say the answer is?
Yeah.
Okay, and then say if you can divide it, so
If you can simplify it, you should.
I know, but say like since we did 3 and 16, the 5 would go on this side,
Yes.
and then
You have 1 left over.
yeah, one left
And that goes over the
so
3.
one will go on top, and then
Yeah.
3.
If you wrote this as a decimal, because say you did this in your calculator, I'd be fine with that too. It's okay, right? 5.33 miles per hour. Because we work that way a lot of times, like in speed, we can see it as decimals and we could see it as fractions, so I'm okay with that. But if it's a multiple choice problem, it's probably going to be in a fraction form, so you know you're looking for fractions. Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, we're going to practice some of these.